What else exciting are you working on these days?
Well, I've been working on the Observatory Hill House Tour
Oh,
for
that is such a cool place.
it
That
really
is
is.
in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, Observatory Hill, and there's so much history there,
There is.
so much old architecture to admire. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the tour's been around for about 30 years, and I started getting involved in 2013 when I first moved to the neighborhood. Um, I'm on my second home in the neighborhood now, but between the two homes, we've been on tour or hosted the overall after events um, 7 times.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's great. There's nothing like knowing that you're going to have 600 people walk through your front door one
Is that
day.
how many you get?
Yeah.
Wow.
My husband lovingly refers to our house as the Perrysville Event Center because we're consistently hosting something or opening our doors for a charity event or a fundraiser or for a neighborhood event. We regularly host our Neighbor Fridays. But the reason why we do it is mostly because these houses have a story to tell. One of the themes for the past couple of years has been stories of a neighborhood.
Oh, how
And
lovely.
it wasn't just about the architecture. It wasn't just about the history of the home. We wanted to know the stories that you don't get to see in print.
Hmm.
And so we were able to bring a lot of those stories to light by doing a lot of research and working through city archives and old newspaper records, finding old photography to piece together a story of the neighborhood that nobody's really heard before.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
That is really neat.
I think in order to understand a neighborhood and to truly love it or understand it, you really have to kind of uncover these stories, and that's how you can really fall in love with something by truly getting to know, the root of where it's been and where it's going.
Absolutely. There's been a building in my family for many years. I've mentioned that at times we've talked before of my grandfather's
Hmm.
building and the story and the history that goes with that. My mom and I have always been fascinated about.
Hmm.
And, while we have family ties to it, it really his story really represented the traditional American dream, right? He came from Italy in 1938 with no money and just the hope of a better life in America. How
Hmm.
scary, really, that must have
Oh,
been,
absolutely.
right? And, talk about fair housing and discrimination. My goodness, there was no protections, especially for immigrants then,
Correct.
right? And how lucky we are that we've really come so far today and still with more work to do. But, he really appreciated and instilled in me the value of hard work
Hmm.
and started, I believe, renting the property for, his barber shop and then eventually saved enough money to purchase that building, and this was in the midst of the Great Depression years,
Sure.
right? People were worried about where they were going to find dinner for the day.
Mhm.
And, he built his business. He learned the language. Studied to become an American citizen and really made his dreams come true, as, that might sound, but it was the true American dream, and he was able to afford that and a place to raise his family, and so much so then that he built a house in the suburbs then in the 50s
Wow.
and raised his family and kept that as an investment property.
Hmm.
So, I always joke like that's how I grew up was, painting buildings and cleaning up after tenants. I
Hmm.
thought that's what all kids did on their summer
That's not
vacation,
what they all do.
but I did. And, earn my allowance money, honestly. But it was great to see, and I think being so close to someone like that, and again, tying in the history
Hmm.
of the building and the pride that they take in their building and space of not just your home, but your home for your business sometimes,
Hmm.
really made me appreciate those things, I think, at a young age. I was an only
Absolutely.
child, so I was always dragged along to everything the adults were doing, so
Right.
I was either in or in, like, there
Yeah.
wasn't there really wasn't a choice,
But
but
those stories are important, and those stories are what
Mhm.
make that property even more special than it was just as being the property itself, right?
Exactly.
It can create a sense of connection and importance,
Right.
not only just to you and your family, but to the neighborhood as a whole. It's a part of its chapter.
Exactly. And to have that respect for the property itself and appreciation of its history or beauty.
Of course.
That's so neat. Yeah. How many houses are included in the tour?
So typically we look for anywhere between 12 and 15 homes
Okay.
to open their doors
Oh,
every year. And this year, we are going back to an old theme of the ins and outs.
okay.
And so we're going to be featuring some highlighted gardens and outdoor spaces that don't normally get featured. And it really is a pleasure to be able to work on it. And I'm very fortunate to live in a neighborhood that's just so open and welcoming
That's great.
to inviting the city of Pittsburgh through their front doors.
That's great. Did you always want to be in real estate? What inspired you
Yeah.
to get involved professionally? As I grew up, I was again sort of just around it, helping out, not really thinking about it from that professional standpoint.
Yeah.
But what inspired you?
Growing up, I moved all across the country a number of times.
Did you?
I'm originally from LA, and we moved from California to Vermont, Vermont to Arizona, Arizona to Pittsburgh. And it was all through my dad's job relocations and transfers. And so I was every couple of years going through the selling process and then the buying process. And I
My
was seeing the real
goodness.
estate agents, and I wanted to be that person. By the time college came around, the thought kind of left. And I ended up at a college in California, Pepperdine. And when I realized that my pre med degree was not for me, I
Oh,
left Pepperdine and moved back to Pittsburgh and went to Duquesne. And that's when I started talking with my original broker. And I said, I'm going to drop out of college, and I'm going to get my real estate license.
uh-huh.
And thankfully, he said, no, don't do that. Finish your degree, get a couple of years of work experience under your belt, because it
Mhm.
really will help you understand the world just a little bit better. And when I finally went to see him 7 years after I graduated college, he said, yeah, it's time. Let's get you started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's a lot of changes, very different cities, and also from pre med to real estate. My
Oh, I know.
goodness. Wow.
All over the place. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Sometimes I still question, what do I want to do when I grow up? But I'll,
So do I.
yeah.
I think a lot of us do.
Um, but I think what changes for me now isn't so much, is this the right industry for me? Because I think I've solidified that this is where I'm going to be for a very long time. But in what capacity am I
Mhm.
going to be the most influential
Yeah.
in this business?
Mhm.
And I think being a mentor, being a trainer, being an educator, and being the broker that agents need,
Mhm.
that's where my legacy is really going to live.
Oh, well, I would second that. You really shine in that role, and
Thank you.
you're a great leader and educator,
Thank you.
and you genuinely wanna help someone do good.
I
And
do.
it's not you
Yeah.
don't you make it about them succeeding, and that's where you find your joy, and I've seen that in
Yeah.
your work, and that's incredible and inspiring.